Hi everyone, this is Sky, and I'm here tonight to do a psychic and intuitive channeling of a very potent and powerful transit that we will be undergoing on July 12th and 13th, depending on your time zone and your location. Yes, I am talking about a partial solar eclipse that we are having and a configuration that eclipse creates, which really adds to the psychic and energetic tension experienced in humanity right now, and will probably create a lot of changes and potent experiences for many people. As always, everyone, this channeling is completely raw, unedited, and unplanned, pretty much. I have a few thoughts that I've written down just off the top of my head, but as for the rest of this, I am just going to tap into whatever I feel based on what is coming up and any knowledge that I have relating to these types of traditional energies. So, what makes this partial solar eclipse that is only visible in certain sections of the southern hemisphere such a big deal for us this time around? Usually, a partial solar eclipse would not be something that I would even make a video about because they are quite frequent and only a small part of the world will see it. Now, it will be even more potent for those who can see it, and I'll put something in the description box more specific about the locations and the specific timing, so be sure to check that out to see if it will be seen by you in the southern hemisphere. But it's quite a small shadowing this time, so it's quite rare to actually see it. But it's a huge deal because of the configurations that are happening. So as a lot of you know, what creates a solar eclipse is when the sun and the moon go into conjunction, and they are in the same place, and the moon blocks out the sunlight. So we have the sun and the moon conjunct at 20 degrees of Cancer, which is not in and of itself that huge of a deal. What makes this such a huge deal and such a strong and potent energy is the retrograde Capricorn triple conjunction that we are having. And they're kind of wide in degrees. We have Mars, Saturn, and Pluto all together in Capricorn. And Mars and Saturn will not be as harshly aspected by the partial solar eclipse that we're having, but Pluto will come into a point right in the exact position of the eclipse of exact opposition. Pluto is at 20 degrees Capricorn, the eclipse takes place at 20 degrees Cancer, and they are right on the horizon. So what we're going to be having is a solar eclipse right on the horizon, and as this eclipse sets, Pluto will rise into the night sky, and they will pass each other right at the right at the horizon, that we will be able to see with our eyes. I mean, of course, we can't see Pluto with our eyes, but that is what is happening. So why is this such a big deal? Well, Pluto is the farthest planet, and I feel that Pluto is a planet in our solar system, the furthest away. And the sun and the moon are our two most bright, most vibrant, closest energies. Of course, the moon is much closer than the sun, but the sun is so big and bright that it becomes obviously very involved in our energetic spectrums anyway. So the sun and the moon, to be exactly on the opposite points of Pluto, creates a completion. It creates a full story, full circle type of experience. We've got our closest bodies in our solar system and our furthest looking at each other, squaring up. And as I sort of delve into these psychic experiences that are being manifested into the physical world as a result of this, I see many people falling into a circle of full completion and feeling bad about that. So we have people completing cycles. We have people gaining power in some type of way. People having had a lot of power suddenly taken away by this energy, and certain people gaining a lot of power. So this obviously is going to be most significant for the cardinal signs, so Capricorn, Cancer, Libra, and Aries. People will be feeling this, especially if your sun or placements are around 20 degrees, but all of humanity will be feeling this quite strongly because we have a lot of Capricorn energy. A few other things that make this such a big deal. I've done a few videos about the other aspects of this, but this solar eclipse directly correlates to the super blue blood moon that we had in January, as well as the supermoon in Cancer and the Great North American solar eclipse we had last year. This is sort of the fourth element, and I feel that it wraps up that cycle of strange lunar and solar activity that we've had over 2017 and 2018. It's ending a story, and all of the pain, all of the trauma, all of the sort of energetic toxicity and disease that has built will be concentrated here on July 12th, July 13th. And that toxicity, that darkness, will be absorbed by Pluto as it rises into the sky. So we have a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to let go of our bygones, to let go of our addictive cycles, to let go of our what we might consider sinful experiences, and to regain our power. We also have an incredible opportunity to start cycles relating to that. I feel a lot of people are sort of seeking catharsis right now, seeking cathartic experiences. And I feel that for a lot of people that started with the super blue blood moon back in January. Check the top right hand corner, it will be there. And I'll also put that in the description box below. So super blue blood moon, perhaps introduce someone into your life who was a very strong representation of the toxicity that you'd once escaped, or the toxicity that you might have been falling into. And it was sort of a wake-up call for a lot of people. You might have tried to create closure with somebody. You might have tried to mend fences. You might have tried to completely change your life. And you might have seen around you that developing in this sort of doomed type of capacity in another person. So you see another person start to go through the same things that you went through, and you see them either benefit or have difficulties in relation to that, and it's sort of like this mirror. So there are a lot of mirrors, there are a lot of reflections, there are a lot of smoke and mirrors as well, falsities, delusionments, fakeness for sure, relating to something that once felt very real to you. So this is the type of time where it's important for us to disassociate and detach, I feel, but not in a way that we are repressing. So seeing the difference between repressing and disassociation and detachment, and how that has played its game within us, becomes paramount, I feel, up until the eclipse. And it's just such an empowering time as the good side, the positive, benefic side of this energy, to release the things which are harming you, to release the patterns and habitual experiences that are holding you back, and being real with yourself about that. As that eclipse happens, you can very easily, wake up on the 12th of July and say, okay, this is what it is. This is what has held me back. This is what I know in my heart. A possible problem is to get disillusioned ideas about what has held you back, so you can put a lot of blame onto something that hasn't actually been culpable. Beware of that. But for the people who have been realizing for a year now what the problem has been, but it's been really hard to shake, for those of you who've had an addiction, and you know that it's not been good for you, and you know that you need to back off of that, for people who have well-defined problems that are the source of that problem is well defined, this is a wonderful day and time and full month cycle actually to release that and just be done. Really beautiful to see, and to also take on, because what happens with an eclipse is something goes and something re-enters, to also take on a replacement that benefits you at your highest level. So what do you know that you need? I feel that everybody comes into this period of time knowing. I don't feel that for many people there's a big question mark. And for those of you who are like, oh my God, I don't know what I need, I'm insatiable here. You've known there's something there, and it could be a very subtle and small thing. And that's where you have to start. It's not that everybody's life problems are just going to be resolved and you're going to know that formula right then and there, but you're going to have an inkling, you're going to have a variable come in that sort of shows what it is that you need. And by trusting yourself, as long as this is something that doesn't harm other people, as long as this is something that doesn't harm you, we're talking small, subtle things, allowing yourself to get more sunlight, allowing yourself, because it's not even so much about the sunlight. I mean, sunlight's wonderful if you've been deprived of vitamin D or something. It's not just about getting that. It's about knowing that there's a lack and trusting yourself to compensate for that. And you can apply that to many different aspects of your life. That's just sort of a very subtle example, because I don't feel this to be a huge thing where you're I don't like my house, I'm going to sell it and move to a new country tomorrow. It's not really huge things. For some people, it's possible, but only if that's been something that's been circulating for a very long time. It's not really the best time for split spontaneous decisions, because this is on the Cancer Capricorn axis. This is on the 10th, 4th axis. But it's on the 1st, 6th, 7th axis in the sky. But Capricorn and Cancer traditionally are the 10th, 4th axis. So this is all about the foundations of your life, the platform that you build to stand on. And that is made of small choices. A lot of people kind of correlate this type of energy with the big decisions in life, the things that really changed our life and that we turn into a foundation, the things that we struggle and endure to come out of. But actually, I feel the Capricorn Cancer axis to be small decisions, hundreds, thousands of small decisions that result in one big outcome. So we're looking at the micro here. We're looking at the smaller aspects of you, the small decisions, the small daily habits, which have created a lot, which have resulted in a very powerful, potent experience here and now. So for some people, it could be playing out in health. You've had to start to treat your health in a new way. For some people, relationships, you've seen that you've given somebody a type of power in a relationship that is almost unhuman, and now it's quite difficult to pervade. For some of you, it might have to do with family. You might see that the type of power that you have over your family, or the type of expectation that you have within your job or career aspect, is not something that one person should be entitled to, or that one person should be expected of. So this is about restoring balance and about restoring who you are and what you need to do, and making that, for most people, a little bit less, and gaining power from that, if that makes sense. And when I'm tapping into the energy of this configuration, I keep being taken by the image and vision of three very powerful people. Three people who become more powerful than they needed to be, and have to go into a cycle of restoring the balance of their power structures. And this could be from the world stage. It could be three very powerful people in the world stage. This could be, I feel this to be everybody. I feel this to be humanity, because the micro and macrocosmic systems always reflect each other. So there may be three people in your life, you may be one of them, whose power has become strange, stifled, and uncontrollable, and starts to eclipse, and starts to change, and starts to drain and reemerge elsewhere. How do we deal with this? How do we work with this? It's all about, strangely enough, I keep hearing like moral compass, faith, situations where you can overcome this by doing what you know to be right. And that sounds a little bit fictional, maybe to some of you, because it's hard to think that maybe when you encounter such situations of like toxic power in your life, that, subtle features such as like faith or karma or morals, virtues can overcome this. But I feel that to be exactly so. And I feel that a lot of people have to own up to who they once were. I feel that, like, for example, I see a lot of people, like, this is another random example that won't be right for everybody. I see the type of situations emerging where, for example, maybe someone was like cheated on in a past relationship, and they become that role, like that victim person who got cheated on and like doesn't understand why they weren't enough for their partner. And then I see them going into this energy, cheating on someone else, to understand why that person did what they did, to understand the motivation of the person who hurt them once before. So there's a lot of victimhood motivation complexes trying to be understood by victims, and also a lot of, on the other end of that, people who have hurt others seeking out pain from others too. It's like switching roles, opposing roles, looking at it from the other side's perspective in a very visceral, cathartic way. This is very connected to that super blue blood moon energy, so I would so recommend that you guys check that video out. That was from January. I feel that energy also rings true here as well. But it's a beautiful time to see that power complex emerging, and to see that need to see pain from the opposite spectrum, from the opposite side, and to rise above it and remind yourself how strong and how truthful. Honesty is great here. Honesty, transparency, clarity, and virtue, I feel to be ascending, to pushing many people very high. And also, if that feels, or if that's not really working for you, which it will work for everyone, but if you're not seeing the right type of results, this is a time where you just have to look at you. You have to look within, because Pluto is is a very microcosmic energy if I start to think about it. Obviously it's a generational energy, and in that way it's very collective and macrocosmic, but we all have Pluto within us. We all, like, that's our life force, that's our soul energy at its deepest core. So you're feeling like other people aren't treating you right, you're feeling like you can't get the result. It's time to look deep within, and it's time to nurture that. And it's time to not, because I sense like narcissism coming up here. I sense power complexes, ego, fear of not being noticed, fear of not being recognized or respected. That's a layer. That's a deterrent. That's a detour from what we're talking about here. We're not looking at how we've been mistreated. We're not looking at what we deserve. We're looking at us. We're looking at who we actually are. And don't try to avoid getting caught up in matters of ego or matters of how others should treat you, because that's good and that has its place. But that's not what this energy is about. This energy is just about us. This energy is just about you. This energy is just about seeing what you generate, what you want to manifest. And I feel that a lot of people come out of this, so like late July, early August, healed of certain health ailments. This is very connected into that Jupiter and Scorpio energy that we've talked about as well, because Jupiter is going direct right here at the same time as this. That's another big aspect of why this partial solar eclipse is a big deal. Jupiter is almost a star. It's so big. So whenever the sun starts eclipsing and the sun starts doing things, Jupiter will start to usually have some type of activity as well. It's going direct. So we are looking at healing and wounding, healing crisis happening here and now. So detach, pull back if you need to, and generate power through that. And I feel that I'm actually going to wrap this up here and now. I thought, as I was thinking about possibly doing this video, that it needed to be short. And be sure to comment below what this experience has been like for you, and just listen to this advice. Maybe turn the subtitles on, go back, check it out. There's like layers to this channeling, I feel like, deeper than what comes off on the first listen. So I so appreciate everyone for being here. Like this video, it's very helpful. Your likes and comments mean the world. If you haven't had the chance to subscribe to my channel, I would so appreciate that. I do monthly esoteric forecasts, and I also do a series of transits and other things which revolve around healing. So thank you all for checking this out. Be sure to check out the description box. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, and there are other helpful links. If this was helpful to you, you can also check out my Ko-fi page. But I will be putting in the center of this screen my Transits in 2018 playlist if you guys want to check that out and see some of the other installments, because I do feel a bit of hindsight works well here right now, only for like a few days probably, but that will be there. And any other links that you see, you can feel free to check out. I'm wishing everyone a lot of love and light during this transit. This is empowering. This is strong. If we can just not be afraid of ourselves during this time. Anyway, we'll talk soon. Much love. Bye.